Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Derek at the Feather Pen, wanting to briefly just remind you to get out and vote tomorrow. Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get out there and vote. And I would say, secondly, please make sure that you know what you are voting on. Time and time again, we were encouraged by the founders to be an informed, well-educated citizenry. And so I just wanted to, more than anything, possibly go through a policy to kind of take it to its logical end so that you can know, man, I'm empowered to vote. I just don't have to not know what's going on in my world. I can actually take what they're saying to its logical conclusion and then see for myself, am I okay with whatever that is? That policy is going to lead me down to an expected future. Can I live with that? Can I deal with that? Can my children live with that? And so I just wanted to give one example. You don't have to necessarily do it this way, but all policy starts from an ideology, an ideal, a worldview, so to speak, of thinking about a particular situation or circumstance. And so whether it's education, government, politics, family, war, the individual, whatever. I mean, all of these people who want to be elected and all these policies, they have some type of ideology behind them. And I think that's important to know so that we know, again, so we know where we're going. So I'll just take something that I recently posted to social media just as an example of, hey, tomorrow when you're thinking about voting, you can go through a rigorous process in your mind because that's what's needed. We need people to vote and have a tenable position about which you can explain. If someone should happen to say, well, I disagree with you, at least you don't have to resort to calling them a name. You can just say, hey, no, here's why I believe that. And that'd be okay. So to start off, I would tend to say that if you are a Democrat, then you tend to lean to the more liberal side of thinking. And so, and then vice versa, if you're a Republican, then you tend to lean more conservative. And we get this whole left-right paradigm, and they fight. They don't often agree on things like, a lot of things. And so the fundamental difference there, and for if you're thinking liberally, is that it is the job of the government to come and help people, and more specifically by enacting policies that allow the government to directly help individuals. And so with that comes an ideal that, man, the people need to be served, and government is here to help. And I think one of the things that which is a great position, by the way. I think everyone, conservatives have their strengths and weaknesses, and liberals have their strengths and weaknesses. And one of the weaknesses of that is for liberals is that what's fair, what's just, and who you serve. Don't you kind of end up having to serve everyone. And what I mean specifically is government then has to play the part of serving everyone, because that wouldn't be wrong to serve everyone. Obviously, that's what government is there to do. But liberal thinking is the government itself that then has to serve everyone, which begs the question, man, what's fair and what's not? And so you have policies like, hey, we need to raise the minimum wage. If you can't live off of that, that's not right. And I would say, you know what? You are absolutely right. You have wage workers who cannot live from day to day. It's very, very difficult. And recently you had the Commissioner of Civil Rights. He says that he wrote with the president, and he said, I think that come November, after the general elections for midterms, you are going to enact policies, an executive order allowing undocumented workers to work. They're here, they're not legally here, but you're going to allow them to work. And so he says, what I think is going to happen. So he was following it to its logical conclusion, at least from a statistic standpoint, low-wage workers tend to be people of color. Therefore, if you increase the pool of low-wage workers, then you hinder those who are low-wage workers now by adding an increased pool, and that at least makes sense in my brain. I can say, yeah, I can see that happening. He also went on to say that there is no incentive for raising low-wage labor jobs because, again, you have just brought in a whole pool of low labor workers. And if you're an employer and you are trying to turn a profit for yourself, then my thinking about that is painting with a broad brush. You go with the person that you can pay less. I live in Tallahassee, and big college town, and sometimes it's very hard for young adults and adults to find jobs because we've got a pool of college students, and so and a lot of them have not worked a whole lot, and so I can pay you at the cheaper end. And then you might say, well, what about so obviously if we raise the minimum wage that everybody is paid, then that solves the problem. And I would say yes and no. You are still going to have an issue because you've increased the labor pool. And so because you've increased the labor pool, there are millions that will not see that increase simply because you just increased the pool. And so the people that you are purporting to serve here will be hurt because you want to serve these people here. And again, this is not me arguing for immigration or not. I'm just simply showing the mindset behind how one seems to cancel out the other. And I would also add, this is my hopefully my non-ignorant economic brain working here, but if you raise the minimum wage, particularly in the economy that we have now, then you also have to raise goods and services. So that if you raise minimum wage and goods and services stay the same, I would say, yeah, man, these people are going to really, they're going to really experience something great and impactful. However, if with minimum wage rising, the goods and services also have to rise, it seemed to be equal here and here. And so that's kind of like, future tense, how I would see that playing out, because if the economy is in turmoil now, people are not spending as much, you may even have employers saying, hey, I can't really hire people, I got to go on a hiring freeze because, hey, I'm not bringing in as much and I have to pay my laborers more. Then that may be the problem. And again, we're not talking about those instances of real inequality or real greed here. And so a lot of times in an argument, people will just bring up the exception and not the rule. Or I'm not talking about the exceptions. Again, just painting with a broad brush. That seems to be the place where those two policies are going, and that they cancel out the other. And so again, when you're in the voting booth, when you're looking at the ballot and what's on the ballot, please take the time to critically think about where that idea came from and where that idea will lead you and our country and your family in the future. And so there are a lot of other things that we could talk about and maybe deconstruct. Leave your thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts about this midterm election and what you think and where you think the policies in your state will go. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more lengthy in time. I just wanted to get that out there before tomorrow comes. Please make sure that you get out there and vote. It's very important, and make sure you know why you're voting. Until the next time, this is Derek Hayes reminding you that this will remain the land of the free as long as it's the home of the brave. So go do something courageous today, and tomorrow, go vote. So I'll see y'all later. Peace.